Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Julie Robinson with the University of Arkansas, but also with the National Association of Extension Program and Staff Development Professionals. And today we would like to take the opportunity to share with you about some of the aspects of the NAEPSDP organization. We're going to share with you the roles and responsibilities of some of our leadership positions, and we're also going to share with you some of the aspects and job responsibilities of our committees. And hopefully this will show you how you can potentially get involved with NAEPSDP. And so today you're going to get to see several of our key leadership. And joining us today, first off, is Carrie Stark. She is our current president. And we've also got Mike Lambert with us. Mike is our incoming president. And we've also got with us Dr. Rich Poling. He is our treasurer.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to have you with us.
And we also have Todd Hurt with us, and he is our Southern Region rep and also our marketing co-chair, marketing committee co-chair.
Good morning, everybody.
And last but not least, we've got Karen Ballard here with us, and she is our past president. And then I am also joining you this morning, and I am the Programs Committee co-chair. So in addition to what you're going to learn today in our webinar with what we're going to share with you, another good resource for you is our website, which is naepsdp.org. And you can either do https:// or www. But it's naepsdp.org. So, Karen, why is this webinar important for NAEPSDP?
This webinar is the culmination of a lot of discussions that the leadership team has had really over the last couple of years. A discussion that how do we engage folks in a way that is, number one, inclusive, number two is intentional, that it's not just the people we know, it's not our network, because NAEPSDP is national. There are all kinds of gifts and talents and disciplines across the country that are part of our membership. That's kind of unique. And there aren't always multiples within a state. Sometimes our membership is very small within states because they're specialized, whether they're IT folks or communications or HR or program staff development or accountability. They might not have a large group that can encourage and nominate and explain opportunities. So that's what we're doing here today. Actually, in our strategic planning process a couple of years ago, in the national survey some of you took, that's one of the things that you said. You'd like to see the board. You would like for the leadership to talk to you, and possibly through a webinar format. So here we are. We're here today, for better or for worse. You're going to hear about roles and responsibilities, but you're also going to hear about, which to me is the most important, how this can be incorporated in your own professional development, how this can be really good for you in your career. I know for me, the network of colleagues that I've grown to care about and respect and have the opportunity to work with is invaluable. And I want some of the rest of you to have that opportunity as well. Whether or not you know anybody on this leadership team should not be a barrier. And so today is all about opportunities for you to step up.
Okay, thank you, Karen. So we're going to get started by talking to our current president, Carrie Stark, and she's joining us from Nevada. It's a little bit earlier in Nevada than for some of those in the Central and East Coast time zones. So Carrie, can you tell us why stepping up is important for extension professionals and why they should consider joining?
Great. Thank you, Julie. And yes, it is much earlier here in Nevada. For me, I can say good morning to most everybody, and I know it is not morning for some of you, but and thank you for joining us. I'm looking at the list of individuals that are attending today, and I'm really excited to see a lot of new names, and I'm hoping that a lot of you will, when Mike and I make some phone calls and Karen makes some phone calls to you this in the next coming months, you will graciously say yes. So, but when we talk about why being involved in a national organization is so important, I feel like I have been involved in at the national level in several organizations for a number of years. What I really enjoy about it is, number one, it gives me an opportunity to learn about new programs that are happening and that I can take back and then share with my colleagues in other states. The other, and then also, or back in my own state, it also, Karen mentioned, you know, the opportunity to get to know and care about colleagues from around the country. And I really find that is probably the most valuable thing that I have gained. You know, just one example that I want, you know, that I can share is, so we're in Nevada, we are in the process of hiring an extension director. And so because of my connections around the country, I was able to call and kind of get a feel for what the three candidates that we're bringing in, I could get a feel for what they were like, you know, from somebody that actually worked with them. And, you know, to me that is, and I've also been called many times in the same capacity. And to me, that's really important. The other thing that it can help you with, you know, we're all looking for that magical help in promotion and tenure process. You know, a lot of us have to go through it, and, you know, being involved at the national level is, you know, we don't like to say it, but it really is a critical piece to promotion and tenure, not only with the scholarship, but with engagement. And so that's, you know, those are just two examples. Like I said, you know, or three examples, but to me it is, I just, you know, it's something I guess I've done for so long that it is important, but I think it is also invaluable.
So Carrie, for our participants that are joining us today, they may be wondering, how do you juggle your busy in-state career with your national NAEPSDP responsibilities, and what are those rewards for you?
Okay, so for those of you that are not aware, I am actually the state 4-H program leader in Nevada, and so yes, and right now I am one of two people in the state 4-H office in Nevada. So it is a very busy state career, and I always get asked the question, why am I involved in NAEPSDP? And because it's not my programming area, but to me, it's one of those pieces that in this organization, I can take almost everything that I've learned. I've been able to, you know, everything that I learned at meetings and webinars, I can take it back and use it in my daily job, because I do program development, I do staff development on a daily basis. But also, you know, when I think about how I juggle that, it is, the way I end up having to do it, I mean, my example is I usually will dedicate about a half a day to a full day, at least once a week, once every 2 weeks, and work on this association. You know, not everybody has that luxury, and it doesn't happen obviously every week because things come up, but it still is, you know, that's one way, but the rewards are huge. Again, you know, just those connections that you can make, and those, you know, I've gotten a lot of new programming ideas that I've brought back, you know, and while I'm working on this association, I'm also bringing a lot of stuff back to our state.
Thank you, Carrie. So Karen, for those that think they might be interested in getting involved, how can they do so, and where can they get some more information?
Very shortly, you're going to be receiving, if you're an NAEPSDP member, you're going to receive a link for nominations. And one of the things that we encourage is that you self-nominate, that you identify roles or committees that you would like to participate in. And I think Carrie and Mike are going to talk about that a little bit later as well. So this webinar is a discussion today. This will allow you to kind of get the overview and be ready when you get that email in August to either nominate someone else or nominate yourself to step up.
And so here's a list of the NAEPSDP committees, and we're going to go a little bit more in depth on those here in just a minute. And so in order to do that, the very first one on this list is the Programs Committee. And that is the committee that I have the great opportunity to co-chair along with Teresa Byington in Nevada. And so the Programs Committee is charged with two kind of key components, is the annual conference and webinars. So we, and overall, it's just the professional development for the members in the organization. And so we currently, as a committee chair for the Programs Committee, we meet monthly for a video conference. We use the Zoom platform, so we meet every month with the board. And then we also, because the Programs Committee is responsible for planning the national conference, and there are a lot of details that have to be sorted out with that, our committee meets every other month. And the months that we don't meet, we conduct a webinar on our off month, if you will. So we currently, the Programs Committee presents 4 to 5 webinars every year. And these are just topics that have been identified by either evaluation results or conference feedback, or just the committee members saying, here's a current topic or a challenge that the people in our state are dealing with. So we also partner with the Southern Region Program Leadership Network. We have for the past 3 years to present the virtual summer school. And the virtual summer school is actually coming up on August 7th through the 10th. And our, like Carrie was talking about just a little bit ago about career advancement. So we're going to be talking about the who, what, where, when, why, and how of career advancement. And these are 1-hour webinars. And so this is another project that the Programs Committee works on. And the other one that is also very exciting is the National Conference. So the Programs Committee, the Programs Committee members review the proposals, they schedule or create the agenda, they plan the meals and the sessions, they work with presenters, they man the registration table, and much more. And while that may sound very intimidating, we're the largest committee of NAEPSDP. We currently have 20 members. And so a lot of those responsibilities are kind of parceled out, and we have subcommittees that take care of a lot of those smaller details within the conference. And so you can either go all in and be a committee chair or co-chair, or you can kind of temper your participation by joining one subcommittee or 2 subcommittees. So you have several different levels of opportunity and time commitment with the Programs Committee. Another committee that the Programs Committee works very closely with, because a lot of our activities need to be marketed, is the Marketing Committee, which is co-chaired by Todd Hurt. So Todd, would you like to share with us about the Marketing Committee?
Yes, thank you, Julie. I'm honored to serve on the Marketing Committee with a co-chair. Her name is Judy Azzoli. And our role as co-chairs involve attending the monthly board meetings via Zoom. We'll call together our committee as needed, and we often meet by Zoom as well. A couple of things that we do on an annual basis is we have to develop the committee's plan of work, and we have an opportunity to submit an annual budget to the treasurer. So those are a couple of the things that we need to pull together. Our committee is charged with marketing and promotion of the association. So we dabble in things such as social media production, writing newsletters, maintaining a web presence, and also working closely with the membership committee to develop pieces such as member engagement, flyers, and creating conference swag. There are 11 committee members on our team, and you'll see them listed on screen here. We're truly a national committee, which makes it interesting trying to schedule a time because we're spread all the way from Florida to Alaska across 4 time zones. So we do have to be careful about not trying to wake Alda up too early in the morning. So I think one of the first ones I planned, she's like, look, that's 4:30 in the morning for me. We can't do that. So let me introduce our team members. Kevin Andrews from Texas is our webmaster. Matt is from Florida, and he's our newsletter editor, and that goes out quarterly. Alda helps with our social media post, and she's quite good at graphic design. Steve and Shanae and Yolanda help to write our blog articles and help with our marketing pieces. Danae Wolf helps with our graphic design. And then, as I mentioned, Sarah Ballman is our membership committee person that sits in with us because there's a lot of communication that has to happen between those 2 groups. We are always looking for new members. We're looking for people that are both creative or tech savvy, and we will be glad to help you with the tech savvy end. If don't let that be a deterrent from joining our team. The next thing I want to talk about is my role as a regional rep. You can see on screen there's 5 regional reps. And we are obviously all around the country. Terrence and I are both here in Georgia, and Terrence represents the 1890 institutions. We do serve as members on the membership committee as well. And so a lot of our activities are looking at our region and trying to encourage our membership to stay involved. We're also the liaison between the region to the board to make sure we're getting people from our committee, from our region nominated for different roles. Terrence and I have written something called a regional brief that we'll send out, just kind of a little local flair to some of the national news that comes back from the board. But the main thing is as a regional rep, we do sit on the board and we make sure that we're bringing ideas that are good for our region back to the board members. And the last thing I want to mention about regional rep, your commitment to the board really is to attend the national meeting in December and then the summer board meeting. So you do want to plan on traveling those 2 times and make sure you have support from your institution before you commit to this. But I encourage you to be a regional rep. It's not an overbearing amount of work, and it does come with a great honor of being able to meet with the rest of the board.
Thank you, Todd. So for our participants that are joining us today that might be wondering how you get involved in an NAEPSDP committee, I'd like for Mike Lambert and Carrie Stark to both respond to this and how committee chairs are selected and how you can join an NAEPSDP committee.
I'll go ahead and start. This is Mike. Is that okay, Carrie? Okay. Well, we do have when we have our national meeting in December, we do have committee meetings there, and anybody who's attending the conference, we encourage them to participate in those meetings as a way of becoming more familiar with the tasks and the roles that committee is addressing, and we again encourage them to get involved as a member. Of course, you can go to our website, and we do have all the committees listed. We have the committee chairs who serve on the board. We have contact information from them. You can also look at their plans of work to see what type of things that they're doing, so you can get involved with that. And then, you know, a lot of it really is personal connections. I think Karen talked a little bit about this, but you know, as you get to know people and through the conference and through other interactions as a result of becoming a member, oftentimes you sort of spot somebody and say, hey, you know, they may be interested in doing this. So as you know, as you probably all know, is that the reason why people don't volunteer as much is that they're never asked to volunteer. So a lot of it's just that one-on-one connection saying, hey, would you be interested to serve? So that's a couple of the ways. And Carrie, perhaps there's others that you'd like to talk about.
Well, yes. So actually, our bylaws state that the president and the president-elect do get together and we do appoint the committee chairs and then the chair-elects. That is something that we are that is new to the organization with the chair-elects. And so, you know, I'm looking at this list going, gosh, I see a lot of potential committee chairs and some chair-elects. And so, you know, myself, I got involved in this association as a chair-elect. Somebody saw some potential leadership, I guess, in me at a national meeting at some point and had called me and asked me if I was interested in serving as chair-elect for the programs committee. And so, and I've been involved ever since. So it is a great way, even if you have not been involved in a committee, if you have an interest in that area, you know, really, it's a way to get involved in the organization.
All right, thank you, Carrie and Mike. Mike, I'm going to turn back to you and ask you if you would share with our participants what is the role and responsibility of the incoming president or the president-elect?
Thanks, Julie. You know, as I think about a president-elect, two words come to mind: learning and preparing. And basically, you know, you're serving it as a year to sort of prepare and to learn about what it takes to become the president. You know, what are the roles and responsibilities, that type of thing. So you work closely with the president in terms of, again, that learning and preparing yourself. Of course, the president-elect can sit in the absence of the president. Perhaps Carrie couldn't make a meeting, and so I would sit in as the president. Also chair of the Resolutions and Policy Committee, as you can see there before you. And for example, you can see the responsibilities, but last year as president-elect, Carrie sort of oversaw some major significant changes to the Constitution and the bylaws and Constitution. And again, that was taken before the members at our conference to approve. This year, I'm working on a couple of policies. One is on how we might be able to help our board members with expenses as they attend other meetings, the two of which Todd talked about, but other things that as part of their responsibility for being a board member. And then we're also working on a policy about how states, if they are interested, want to form an affiliated chapter of our organization within their state. And then there's other work that can be assigned to the president-elect. But again, I look at it as that whole notion of learning and preparing to step into the presidency next year. And then as you all know, then the president serves as a past president. We have Karen here. So really that term, if you're interested in that presidential perspective, then you'd have to commit to 3 years. But it's great. It's a great group of people to work with.
Thank you, Mike. So two other key leadership roles within the organization are the treasurer and secretary. And so at this time, I'd like to invite our current treasurer, Rich Poling, to share with us the roles and responsibilities of that office, as well as the secretary, the position of secretary roles and responsibilities. So Rich.
Okay, thank you, Julie. I appreciate it. I'm here representing both the treasurer's position and the secretary's position. Laura Downey is our current secretary. She was unable to be with us today, but I'll talk a little bit about her office as well. So I just recently retired from the University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service, and now I'm a life member. So I plan to be around with the association for quite a while, hopefully. And so I want to talk a little bit about the treasurers. The treasurer position is a 2-year term, and it is reelectable, as is the secretary's position. You can serve up to 3 terms if you choose to run, and the association members choose to elect you, of course. Let me talk a little bit about the duties of the treasurer. The duties are the normal kind of duties that a treasurer would do. First of all, keeping and maintaining the financial records of the association and preparing any required reports for the board of directors on a monthly basis, and of course for the association as a whole at the annual meeting at the end of the year. Also, you are responsible for making sure that all of the appropriate forms are filled in and sent in for the IRS related to our tax situation. So that's another duty of the treasurer. And of course, the treasurer also receives income and also pays out the bills for the association for any expenses that the association incurs. We also, working with the finance committee, the treasurer helps develop the annual budget, presenting that annual budget to the board at its March meeting for its approval for the current year. Also, I manage the accounts with the financial institution. Right now, we have a checking account and a credit card account with U.S. Bank, so we have to make sure we maintain those accounts in good order. Also, the treasurer serves as an ex officio member of the Association Finance Committee. And let me tell you a little quickly about the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee with the treasurer does sit down and develop the proposed budget that will be presented to the board of directors. And the Finance Committee also oversees the financial operations, basically keeping an eye on the treasurer, making sure that they don't take off for Cancun with the treasury money, which hasn't happened and I don't think will happen in the near future. Also, at the end of the year, the Finance Committee performs a financial review of the financial records just to make sure everything is the way it should be and they're being handled in a correct manner. So if you're interested in any of the keeping an eye or maintaining the financial records or overseeing the financial operations of the association, the Finance Committee would be a great opportunity for you to serve, as well as if you're interested in serving as the treasurer. One of the key things that you need to do as the treasurer, you do need to know how to add and subtract. So that's one of the key job requirements. So let me move on to talk a little bit about the secretary's position. And again, Laura Downey is currently our secretary. It is a 2-year term, and it is reelectable up to 3 terms. The secretary serves by taking the minutes at the board meetings, also forwarding any approved documents, including the minutes of the meeting, as well as the treasurer's reports to our webmaster, who then posts it on our web. And if you go to our website, you can see the minutes of all of our board meetings and all of the treasurers and financial reports there. That's one of the things we talked about in our strategic plan about being transparent for our membership. And in conjunction with the nominating committee, which Karen will talk about later, helps create an online survey for elections and also handles nominations from the active membership, and also shares the election results with the board when the election is completed. And of course, the other major job of the secretary is to develop and maintain an internal document system that supports the work of the board. So we do have a Dropbox system set up right now that maintains most of our records for the association so that the board members can access that. And if we need to go back and look at what happened 2 years ago or how we progressed over the years, we can go back and look at that. So the secretary's position is a very important one because many times we ask ourselves, well, what did we decide to do at that particular meeting or a year ago or whatever? And we have to make sure that someone is in that position that can make sure those records are kept and kept in a safe place and kept accurately. So those are the 2 positions. If you're interested in any of those, you can contact me related to the treasurer's position. You can contact Laura related to the secretary's position. Julie, back to you.
All right, thank you, Rich. So Karen, last but not least, there are national leadership opportunities available to NAEPSDP board members. Would you like to share some of those with us?
Sure, I'd love to, Julie. I think one of the things that people don't realize is all the opportunities. And so particularly when you receive one of those newsletters, please always look at those, because particularly in the last 2 years, as we've been a member of the Joint Council of Extension Professionals, we've had a lot of unanticipated opportunities for our members to serve on national panels and commissions and boards, and those are communicated with the help of our marketing committee. And so please remember, you have all these new resources available to you. I'm going to go through just a couple that you can again be aware of and consider as we go forward as an organization. We have an award and recognition committee, which whose sole purpose is to address award opportunities. We have a JSEP Innovation Award. We have our own awards, and to accept nominations and applications for those awards from across the country, and then to make decisions and recommendations to the board about who should be the recipient of those awards. It's a very important committee. It doesn't take a lot of time because the work is very targeted, but they do, again, meet by Zoom and to review, to number one, assist with the help of the marketing committee to communicate about these opportunities, but then to receive the applications or nominations and process them. The nominating committee is the role of the past president. I chair that committee. And again, it's a very narrow role and responsibility, but it's a very important one. So our work is really just getting ready to begin in a big way, where we will send out and work with the secretary and providing to the membership the ability to fill out online nomination for yourself or for someone else, and then to sort and review those and organize those nominations for the secretary to communicate back to the board. So our big bulk of work is August and September and going into October a little bit. We also have the ability for our members now to be JSEP, which is the Joint Council of Extension Professionals, to be presenters at both of the National Leadership Conferences. If you're not a member organization of JSEP, you can't present at these conferences. So that's a wonderful scholarship and leadership opportunity you can step up for. The other JSEP conference is the Public Issues Leadership Development Conference, and it's held in the Washington, D.C. area every year. And again, we have members that serve on the planning committee. We have 2 members that serve on the planning committee. It's a 2-year commitment. And again, a great opportunity to network with all different professional groups, not just ours, but all of the member organizations of JSEP. The Journal of Extension, or what we often refer to as JOE board, is the editorial board for our professional magazine, our professional journal. And so again, a great opportunity for those who are very scholarly and have that leaning. And I think the one thing you'll see in this whole list is there's the ability, based on your talent, your interest, your abilities, to participate in so many different levels of leadership and national engagement. We've partnered with E-Extension for the last 2 years to have the E-Extension Fellowship. We had it for the first time this year. We will have 2 slots available and will be coming up for consideration in the next year. And then we have members we receive requests. I know I did when I was president. I think Carrie has as well. Just unanticipated opportunities, whether it's our federal partner that has a special commission or board or panel that they want input. We're called upon to appoint or nominate. Sometimes the board just has that opportunity, and it's a very narrow time window to appoint someone. So that's why it's really important to put your name in the pot, let us know you're interested in leadership opportunities, just so that we understand that you're out there and you're interested. So again, it's this nomination, online nomination process is launched in August, just around the corner. You'll have the opportunity to identify any of these roles that you may be interested in the future. It's not a commitment to put your name in, it's just an intention. And so I would expect that we're going to have a number of people this year because of what the board's done. I just want to say, I want to tip my hat to Carrie and to Mike and to Rich and Julie and Todd, all the members of the board who are doing this today. This took some work to put together, and I really appreciate what the board's done to be very intentional about inclusion. And so I just encourage you. This is a great opportunity. It's been a wonderful opportunity for me.
All right, thank you, Karen. So I just want to show this picture to maybe hopefully encourage you, if nothing else that we have said today. Being in a leadership role, whether it be an elected officer or a committee chair or co-chair, it's not all work and no play. This was at our on-site board meeting this past summer in the end of May, 1st of June. And not that it necessarily matters, but the elevators at our 2017 conference venue are very nice, and they fit a lot of people apparently. So anyway, I just want to say it's not all work. We definitely do some great work, but we also have some fun doing it, and we have some great colleagues that we get the opportunity to work with. So at this time, if anyone has any questions about how they can get involved, go ahead and enter those in the question and answer box, and you can access your question and answer box by clicking on that Q&A button. It's in the upper left-hand corner of your screen if you're on a desktop or a laptop, or it's in the upper right-hand corner of your screen if you're on a mobile device such as a tablet or a cell phone. And so while we're waiting on folks to hopefully enter some questions, unless we've answered them all, I would like to ask our folks that are joining us today that are already in leadership positions, what has been your greatest reward by participating in a leadership role in this organization?
I'll go ahead and take the lead on that question, Julie, if you don't mind. I think, since being treasurer, one thing that's helped me, several things have helped me, and you've all mentioned some of those things already, the networking, the getting to know people. But as treasurer, I touch everybody's life because I handle their money. And so that puts you on a very one-to-one basis with people. And it also gives me the opportunity to help people out in terms of telling them a little bit about the organization in terms of how they become a member, handling any problems or issues they have with how they make their payments, and answering questions like that. So I've gotten to know not just the board members, which is a great group and a great opportunity to interact on a very close basis with a lot of people from across the country, but I touch and get to know people all across the organization, all of our members. So when I go to the annual conference, or when I see people on the webinar, I know who they are. I've talked with many of them. I've helped them out with maybe some questions that they might have had. So it's given me a much broader perspective of the organization, not just the board relationships, which are great, but also that individual other membership. And so and I get asked this every once in a while, Carrie kind of touched on this. Sometimes I get asked, who would be a good person to do this? Or who would be a good person to ask to do this? I'm in a position as a treasurer, I know most of those people. So I can say, well, why don't you contact so-and-so, because they seem to be in that position, they know what they're doing. And so that's one of the greatest things for me is I know people. And it's that when you go to the conference, you know somebody, that may be the first time you've ever seen them face to face, but you know who they are, you know what they do. So that's been very important for me. It's a great opportunity, and I encourage everyone to be involved at that level where you get to know more than just a few people in the organization.
All right, thank you, Rich. Jody Azuli, I think I'm saying that right. Sorry, Jody. It was able to join us, and she just wrote in via text that participating as the marketing co-chair has been a wonderful way to develop professionally and to work with people that are passionate about extension. So thank you, Jody. Any of our other?
This is Mike. Yeah. Again, I echo a lot of what was said by Rich. And again, what I'm so impressed about the board, other than they're great people to work with, is that people actually are working. Oftentimes, you get on the boards and there's a lot of people and they don't do a lot of stuff. And I think we really coalesced, and quite frankly, we coalesced under Karen's leadership as the president. We made the switch to our website, our own website. So we had the strategic plan that we followed through on, like I've never seen a strategic plan followed through on like that one. So I'm just so impressed with, as Jody said, the passion that is there, but also the follow through for the most part that people exhibit on the board. The old notion that if everybody does a lot, then a few people don't, everybody does a little, then a few people don't need to do a lot. So I'm most appreciative of that.
I can jump in too and echo exactly what Mike said. I've never seen a 5-year strategic plan almost completed within 2 years. And it took the leadership. So Mike next year gets to do a new strategic plan, I think. But he got out of doing a major revision to the Constitution and bylaws, so we'll let him do a new strategic plan. But it took this board, it took our committees, even our committee members jumping in and really tackling those tasks. The other thing, as I look at this question, I just have to tell you, on the professional level, the thing that I have gotten probably the most out of this organization is the information about onboarding. So one of the things I have to create right now as in my state role is I've created an onboarding program for our county 4-H professionals. And so I know about 10 or 15 people from this organization, well, more than that, but 10 or 15 I know well that I can call and say, hey, can you help me put this together? Give me some ideas. And so, personally, that's been really nice because I don't have to recreate much. So it won't take as much time out of my day.
I think that in honor of all the great work that we've done, that in my term as president, it's going to be a year of celebration. And then we're going to hit it hard in 2019.
Todd, are you going to be planning said celebration?
Oh man, I hope to be enjoying the celebration.
Sorry.
I want to give a shout out to Jody, my co-chair. Way to go, marketing committee, and to everybody that's listening. I just wanted to say that part of the benefits you get from being on the board is you see the collaboration we have here, and you see the fun times we have. And also will keep you sharp. You have to keep your eye on Mike because he will send project ideas to you. You better be paying attention or you'll come back and you'll have something new that your committee is working on. Right, Mike?
Maybe.
All right, I'll go ahead and kind of toss out my 2 cents worth. As a young faculty or just a young extension employee, this organization has been great. They don't shy away from young people in leadership positions. They don't think that you have to have paid your dues and served your time in order to participate. And they welcome new and fresh ideas, and they embrace new technology. And it's a very exciting organization to be a member of. So definitely encourage you, especially if you're a younger extension employee, to definitely get involved in. Also, it's just like several of these folks have talked about, you've got people that across the country that you feel comfortable shooting them an email that just says, hey, tell me about your onboarding program, or tell me about your in-service training protocol and program that you use. And you don't sit there for an hour drafting this very formal email. You just say, hey, I met Todd at the conference. I'll just shoot him an email and say, how do you do this? And you can just kind of have that familiar, comfortable conversation. Yeah,
it really is. The collegiality is amazing.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions. So at this time, Karen, before we close, would you like to share with us about the online nomination process that's fixing to start?
Okay, it's going to be pretty simple. You're going to get a notification with a link to a Qualtrics survey to identify those that that you believe would be great leaders or participants in leadership. I think the one thing that has really excited me is the diversity of our committees across the regions. It's something, again, that we have been intentional about. It's like we want people from every region to be engaged, and because it gives us different perspectives. So it's easy. It's not going to be hard to do this. So watch for the email that you will get if you're a member. We'll try to make it attractive and interesting so you will notice it and it won't get clogged up in your email. And I would just say, click on the link and step up. I don't think that you'll regret it. I think that we've all shared from our different perspectives from around the country, but we have a common experience. And I just, I hope that you'll be a part of that in the future. Don't be afraid.
All right, thank you, Karen, and thank you to the members of our leadership team that were able to join us today and share with us, and thank you to our participants for joining us, and we hope that you'll take the opportunity and step up and step into a leadership role or a committee member role in the coming year. And if you have any questions, you can go to that NAEPSDP website, naepsdp.org, and or you can reach out to any of us if you have any questions. So we thank you for your time and hope that you have a great day.